Hello, my name is Hande Ozdinler, and I am an associate professor at the Department of Neurology, Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine. Many people ask me what we have done in 2020 because they know that we've been working on the upper motor neurons, and we are one of the first labs established to investigate the biology and pathology of upper motor neurons, specifically the upper motor neurons. And we try to understand the underlying causes of their degeneration, develop unique treatment strategies for them, identify and develop biomarkers, early detection markers that would reveal the timing and extent of their degeneration. And we develop directed gene deliveries to the upper motor neurons and the motor cortex. And why upper motor neurons are important? Because the movement starts in the brain. And if you have any disease in which voluntary movement is impaired, the upper motor neurons are involved. And their degeneration are characteristic of ALS, HSP, and PLS. And the long-term paralysis that we observe in spinal cord injury patients are in part due to degeneration of the upper motor neurons. So they are clinically important neuron populations, and we've been working very hard trying to understand why they degenerate and how we can help them establish connections and regain their health. That's why 2020 has been very tough on us, because as we've been working very hard, the year of the pandemic did not treat us well. As you know, the 2020 is the year of the COVID pandemic, and the human loss has been astounding, and even the death toll in the United States has officially surpassed that of World War I. So that's huge, and thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, unfortunately passed away, leaving many families in despair, and the death toll is still rising. So in addition to the COVID pandemic, this year in the United States, there was also the Black Lives Matter uprising in the movement, asking for justice for all, asking for equity and equality, and that everyone is equal. And that was an uprising from corner to corner, from all ages and everyone involved. This was one of the largest civil movements in the modern history. So we had the pandemic. We also had people who are very unhappy. And in addition to all this, there was the economic hardship. Many jobs were lost, businesses were closed, and it was hard to survive financially. So 2020 has not been an easy year for any of us. And this is also true for science, because even though most research came to a halt and then the focus has been on COVID, we as the Ozdinler Lab kept going. It was tough, but we kept going, because we realized that the ALS patients and motor neuron disease patients have been waiting all these years, right? And there's an urgency to expedite research. And COVID showed us that the science is the answer, and that we don't really have the luxury to stop doing our research. And we believe that 2021 will be much, much better, because the pace of discoveries are at an exponential rate. ALS and other motor neuron disease platforms are working together. The enthusiasm is very high. The support is growing. And COVID showed us actually that when we all work together, science will have the answer. And that's why we are actually more determined than ever. So I think 2021 will be the time to join our team. And I would like to tell you briefly what we have accomplished in 2020, despite all that we have gone through, and what our vision is for 2021, and how I think you can be part of our team, and that would make a difference. You know, many people say tough times don't last, tough people do. And I believe this is very true. Because, you know, tough times are very chaotic, and, you know, it's disarray and you don't know what's happening. But tough people put things in order and give perspective and give direction. So even in the times of COVID, we thought to ourselves, can this be a one-time opportunity in science? Because sometimes slowing down or stopping is important because it gives you the opportunity to think deep, right? And to plan better and to form the team so that you can execute as a team better in the future. So that's what we did. We actually took this as a one-time opportunity. And because the phases of research allowed us to do this, because in the phases of research, you first have the design phase, which takes the longest time and you have to think really hard. Then the execution phase, and then the analysis, synthesis, and sharing. So the design part is actually the heart of research. The better you design, the better your research will be. So this time, the COVID time, especially the early times, February, March, April, was very heavy on designing. And of course, to be successful, you have to surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. And then again, the COVID time gave us this opportunity to think and to see who is on our team and how can we work together to reach the same goal. Then we said, what is my unique strength? What is my goal? What is my ultimate goal? And who shares that goal with me? And what is really important? Then we sharpened our focus and focused on the end game, the finish line, and how do we get there, and how do we walk with others and form the team to get there. So I was very happy and lucky, actually, to be named the Director of Scientific Research for Along Swim. And Along Swim is a non-profit organization formed by Doug McConnell. And he unfortunately lost his father and sister to ALS, and he's a long distance swimmer. He swims 40 miles, 30 miles across, around the island of Manhattan, between the islands of Hawaii. I don't know how he does it, but he does it with such determination and with a teamwork. And he believes in collaboration. He believes in teamwork, and he really wants to find a cure for ALS, and he wants to meet someone who actually overcame ALS. He's determined. And that's why when he asked me if I would like to be the Director of Scientific Research for Along Swim, I was thrilled, because this is exactly my goal, that we initiate collaborative projects, we initiate collaborations, we bring best minds together to solve complex problems, and we support the initial phases of research, which are usually not supported well. And I said yes. So I'm very happy to be able to work in that power, so that maybe we will actually form best teams to touch the finish line together. And the other good news that happened in 2019 was that we received the first ALS drug grant at Northwestern together with Dr. Silverman on a new compound, or actually a plethora of compounds that he generated and characterized. And now we're investigating their role on upper motor neuron health and survival with respect to ALS, HSP, PLS, and so forth. So working with him has been an immense joy, because Dr. Silverman is also someone that you would like to have on your team. He's determined, he has sharp focus, and when he's on your team, you know that you're going to get things done. So with Along Swim and with Dr. Silverman, I knew that I was in good company. And 2020, when 2020 happened, we wanted to embark on a collaborative effort and team effort, and trying to see whom we can collaborate and with whom we can build the best team. And that was the time, actually, I was again very happy to be accepted to the Chemistry of Life Processes Institute at Northwestern as a new faculty. So the Chemistry of Life Processes Institute, CLP in short, is a gem. It is located at the Evanston campus, and it is the engine of change at Northwestern, because it actually accepts faculty from different departments, and it emphasizes the teamwork, the translational science, and it has multiple core facilities with proteomics core, with high throughput analysis, with imaging, And at the end of the day, they actually start new companies. It's very translational. There are products, and they take basic science and they transform it to solutions. And that's exactly what we would like to accomplish as we move forward in 2021. So when I became a member to CLP, and when Dr. Silberman and I, we received the largest ALS grant Northwestern has ever received, he decided to celebrate that. And how does Doug celebrate collaborations? By swimming. So he decided to swim from Northwestern to Northwestern. First of all, it may seem a little bit awkward to you, but Northwestern has two campuses. One of them is in the Evanston, and the other one is in downtown Chicago. And there's about 10 miles between them. And he swam from the Evanston campus to the Chicago campus when the beaches were closed, when they were all locked down, and he swam from boat to boat. And he completed the 10-mile swim to celebrate the collaborative research and the idea of connecting two campuses and moving the science forward for translation and for the identification of new drugs for ALS and for motor neuron disease patients. And I know many of you have donated, and we thank you for your donations, small and big, it doesn't matter. It is what matters is that you contributed and you made a donation, so we thank you. And if you haven't had the chance to donate, the GoFundMe page is still active. Please do so. Because at the end of the day, what do those donations turn into? So we thought, what is the best way to put those money in action? Because we actually don't work for the money, right? We actually allow the money to work as an accelerator or as an accelerator and an enzyme for a great plan. So money becomes the change maker. And how can we make the best change? So we decided that maybe we can actually initiate a fellowship so that a very talented and collaborative person embarks on new ideas, collaborative research, initiates new projects, and that was actually Dr. Gautam. So Dr. Gautam initiated the Exosome Project, the Metabolomic Project. He received Niels Poster Award. He wrote a book chapter. He wrote 3 manuscripts in 2020. So this was actually the one of the best investments that a change can make. And I'm going to tell more about his success during this presentation. But I think we're on the right path because to be able to generate new collaborative research, we also need dedicated people to embark on those projects and bring the best ideas together and execute the experimental plan. So what have we done in 2020 in science? Of course, you know, when you're a scientist, you give seminars, publications, grants. So I'm just going to go over very briefly. For seminars, actually, February of 2020, before the shutdown started, there was this rare disease at NIH, which I attended. And it was not online. And there were about 2,000 people attending. And we realized that rare diseases are actually very important. And if you put all the rare diseases together, they're not rare anymore. About 10% of the American population, and of course, this includes patients and their caregivers, family members, are affected in some form of a rare disease. So then it doesn't become rare anymore, right? And rare becomes, finding solutions to rare diseases becomes a challenge. And during this year, I also had the privilege to meet with some of the best people. And these actually are family members of some patients, and most of them are kids who suffer a rare disease. And that touched my heart very much because, for example, the KIF1A organization, Cure SPG 50, Help Oli organization in Italy, they were all initiated with mothers and fathers of kids who have a rare disease. And then they generate a community and they generate awareness. And then it becomes our obligation to take care of these kids and to help them, because one is a number and it is an important number. So we can't say rare is not important. Rare is extremely important. Every person is important. And rare as one, um, it is extremely important, because once we begin to cure rare diseases, we actually begin to cure a big platform, or big broad spectrum of many other diseases, because they share many mechanisms together. There are common mechanisms, and we begin to understand them. So that was an eye-opening meeting for me. And of course, after that, all meetings became virtual, because it was not possible to travel. It was not possible to get together, and COVID was affecting thousands of people, especially the patients, right? So, for example, this Spastic Paraplegia Foundation organized a wonderful seminar series, all global, and they invited me to give a talk about how we improve the upper motor neuron health, and I'm very thankful to them. So then we said, okay, maybe as an along swim, we can begin to organize our own webinars. So the first one was about exosomes and ALS. And that was very important, because I was able to invite my colleague and friend, Shad Taxton, and also Dr. Ajay Verma from Kodiak Biosciences. One is a pure scientist, and the other one is in the industry, but they're working on similar topics. So now we plan to continue doing this, so that we bring people, scientists and industry together, so that we actually form bonds with them and introduce them to each other. The important meeting for ALS, one of the most important meetings now, is the NEALS, so Northeastern ALS Consortium. And unfortunately, the meeting is online this year, but we were able to get together and we were able to exchange ideas. The good news is that our lab, in collaboration with the Stealth Biotherapeutics, our collaborative efforts, won the Best Poster Award. And the first authors were Mukesh Gautam and Barish Gange. And the good news is we actually won the Best Poster Award for upper motor neuron biology last year as well. So this was second year in a row, and this was in collaboration with Stealth Biotherapeutics. And I'm very happy, because together with them, together with Stealth, we're trying to find mechanism-based treatment strategies for upper motor neurons and ALS. ANA meeting was also virtual, and I was invited to give a talk. And you know that this meeting is one of the most prestigious meetings for the neuroscientists. And I was thrilled to be invited as one of the world leaders. And we gave a session about TDP pathology. And I shared our recent findings about why upper motor neurons die within the context of TDP and the underlying cellular degeneration mechanisms. I was invited to give a talk to UMass. And again, with my colleagues, I talked about the biology and the pathology of upper motor neurons and their treatment strategies, because I think they also understand the brain is important for motor function, and hopefully we'll start new collaborations with them. ALS-MND meeting, one of the most important international meeting, again, was virtual. And imagine that, 36, 45 countries, more than 2,000 people all attending virtually. This was a unique platform. And at the time, we didn't know if people would be able to join and how it's going to go. And it was a huge success, because ALS patients who can't, travel and who can't move readily and easily, they were able to join. So there were more than 45 countries, I think, joining in. And the seminar, or the symposium, was a huge success. And we actually contributed with 3 different topics. And again, Dr. Gautam presented his exosome project. These were all video presentations. It was very nice, because then people can click, watch you do the video, ask questions later on, interact via Zoom. So it was very nice. So someone can connect from South Africa, and then there's someone from Japan, and then someone from the whole world was able to watch at the same time. So that was a unique experience. And again, Mukesh showed or presented the mitoautophagy project, a unique phenomena that he discovered very early in the upper motor neurons with respect to TDP. And Barish presented the NU9, the compound that Dr. Silverman has generated, and how we find that it improves the health of upper motor neurons that become diseased due to SOD1 pathology and TDP pathology. So we were very happy to, contribute with 3 different topics to the ALSMND meeting. And of course, without publication, it's hard to prove that you're a scientist, right? So 2020 was very hard, but I think we've done well in terms of publication. We had 6 different publications in 1 book chapter, all published in 2020. And you will see that, we don't publish only in 1 topic. We published in drug discovery, electrophysiology, neuroimmune modulation, lipid biology, cellular and molecular biology, TDP pathology, and changes in global policy. So I'm going to go fast because these are all published. For example, in the Cells paper, we looked at the preclinical drug development approaches using upper motor neurons and the electrophysiological determinants of corticospinal motor neuron vulnerability. This is a beautiful paper. Please read it because we find that very early in the disease, the upper motor neurons, the voltage-gated ion channels are perturbed, and that makes the ion balance imbalance, which most likely sets the stage for their vulnerability. And then I wrote a small review for a paper, very interesting paper, about how the peripheral macrophages also impact the central the central nervous system, the resting microglia, and so that by modulating the periphery, you can actually have an impact on the central nervous system. So this was a nice review. Then a lipids paper, and this is very strange too, because normally our lab does not work on lipids, but of course we read about them and we find that this is very interesting, and motor neurons require lipids for their survival, for their function. The funny thing is, when I was invited to BBC in 2019 as a world leader on lipids and motor neurons, the editor of the seminar Cell and Developmental Biology called me and says, we have a special issue. Can you please write a review about lipids and upper motor neurons? I said, well, I don't have time. He says, you are the world leader, you must know. I said, okay, fine, we will write this. And Aksu Günay and Heather Shin, 2 very, very talented undergrads, took the lead, and we have written one of the most inclusive a review on the lipids and their impact on upper motor neuron health and disease. So if you're interested in that topic, please go read. Then for the changes in the in today's drug discovery, and also our approach to treatment strategies with the expanded access, how does the the landscape changes? Because now you don't have to do a phase 3. Even if you have a successful phase 1 and phase 2, your doctor, in combination with the company and you, the 3 of you may start the expanded access process. So this is huge, and the field is changing. And I was invited to write a viewpoint and how the expanded access opens doors for personalized medicine approaches. And that's extremely important for the rare disease patients. And that changes the future of drug discovery, because it will be personalized medicine, it will be mechanism-based medicine, and that one drug for one disease may not be true anymore. It will be the drug for the patient, or the drugs, the combination of drugs that are most appropriate for the patient. And please read if you can, because I think the expanded access will be the game changer for the future. Then I'm also thankful for Dr. Mitsumoto and Dr. Haas for this, because there was an HSP and PLS meeting. First, I was not invited, and then I'm actually now invited to write the review with them, and I'm extremely happy to be involved. And so we decided to write how we can understand the neurobiology of upper motor neurons. So this was also a collaboration with Giovanni Manfredi and Dr. Gomez, Estelle Aria Gomez, and Hiroshi Mitsumoto and George Haas, and I'm very thankful for that. The book chapter, again, belongs to Dr. Gautam, because here, this is an Elsevier book. I think we're chapter 9, and we talk about the mitochondrial defects and how they set the stage for neuronal vulnerability, especially for upper motor neurons within the context of TDP pathology. So we think this is very important, that the mitochondria is at the heart of neuronal vulnerability. So the earlier we treat them, the better it is for upper motor neurons, and of course for HSP-PLS and ALS patients. Publication comes after publication, and then we realized that, you know, we need to bring everyone who's working on upper motor neuron in health and disease in a special issue, which will turn into a book. So together with my friend and colleague Bradley Turner from Australia, we started the special issue on upper motor neuron health and disease, and hopefully that's going to be published next year. So if you're working on upper motor neurons, if you're working on motor neuron circuitry in ALS, HSP, PLS, please get in touch with us. Please submit your research article. We would be very happy to have you join our efforts. And of course, grants. In 2020, when writing grants, you become an alien. And that's what I turned into, an alien in 2020 as well, because we have written large multi-PI NIH grant. Two are 21s, one on the outcome measures for drug development, the other one on improving the cytoarchitecture of upper motor neurons as a potential treatment. And then most importantly, we had 2 patent applications. One of them is on biomarkers, and the other one is a new target to treat ALS. And we are very happy about these 2. So the first patent application, the biomarker, I think the second one will follow. And then the next year, we will have 2 more patent applications, again, with respect to upper motor neurons and treatment strategies for them. We were also happy to receive the Spastic Paraplegia Foundation Research Grant, together with Nicolas Hatsopoulos. He's a colleague of mine from University of Chicago. And we are trying to develop gene delivery very specifically to upper motor neurons. And he is very well known for the motor neuron circuitry. And I'm very happy for this grant and for our collaborative efforts. And of course, we received numerous company grants. I don't want to tell their names now, but they're basically mechanism-based studies and preclinical investigations for some of the compounds and methods that they have. But in total, you know, we actually were able to receive about $600,000 for 4 different projects, and we will continue to receive more support. And I am very thankful for all my friends and colleagues in companies, because I think 2020 and moving forward, the collaboration between research and companies has expedited. The teamwork between companies and universities and university research also expedited, because I think we are on different ends of the spectrum, but we are within the same spectrum. So the better we work together, the faster we move to the end line and the finish line. And I think that's what we're going to do. But of course, 2020 made us realize what is really important, right? It's your family, it's your health, it's your friends, and it's your community. So who cares at the end of the day how many papers you write and how many grants you bring, right? So life is not really about being rich or being popular or highly educated or this and that. It's about being real, humble, and kind. So remember the days we said we are all in this together, right? And success is equal to impact. It's not the number of papers, it's not the number of grants, the impact. So how do you have impact? By giving back to the society, by communicating science. And in 2020, actually, I have tried to do even more of giving back to society in my capacity, of course. The first thing that I realized that the patients need us, because when COVID hit and everything was chaotic, and then, you know, it's a pandemic and stay home and this is virus, it kills, and they were scared and they couldn't go to their doctors, they couldn't visit, they couldn't get the treatment that they were used to. And if they were in clinical trials, you know, who knows what's going to happen with the clinical trials. And there were so many unknowns, and they were left because nurses couldn't come to their house, social workers couldn't come, and they were left alone. So then I felt the obligation to speak to them and to make it clear to them that we are still here, that we are working very hard for them, and our science has not stopped. So that's why May 6th, together with Doug, we organized our first webinar and to discuss the scientific developments in ALS and COVID-19 and beyond. Then Spastic Paraplegia Foundation invited me to their Zoom meetings with their patients, and I attended almost all of them. And it was so nice because they were like maybe 20 patients, 30 patients, but that was okay. We were together, and I was able to answer any question that they may have. And they realized that we were in this together, that they were not alone. Even though we were sharing the screen, the computer screen, we were still sharing the same time, and we were still together in this, and we were in unity. And that was, I think, very important to be able to meet with patients. Recently, for example, I met with in United Kingdom, there's this HSP-PLS group, and I had the opportunity to meet with them and speak with them. And I was very happy to learn that the person who invited me, Adam, who is actually also an HSP patient, he wrote a blog about it. And I didn't know, but I was very touched because it shows that people also cared. It's not just you care, they care for you as well. And it was a mutual feeling. And I felt very much bonded with patients during this time. Then I realized it was actually the students who suffer the most. Because imagine you're in high school, okay, and you're going to apply to university next year or in 2 years. And now you can't go to school. You don't see your friends, and you are now getting online classes. And what is an online class? Who does the online class? You get bored. You don't know. It's just anxiety, and not everyone has a computer, and it's problems, and it's just unbelievable for the kids. So I joined Splash program at Northwestern, and it is an amazing program because you actually teach Chicago public school students. And I said, I love it. I want to do it. So I started meeting with CLP Chicago public school students, and I begin to tell them, what is an upper motor neuron? What is a motor neuron? What is a cell? What is a neuron? And why do they degenerate? And what are the mechanisms? And we talk about mitochondria, ER, nucleus, and this and that. And then, you see the spark in their eye, and they become curious, and they are interested, and they ask the wonderful questions. And I loved it. And if it wasn't for COVID, I don't think I would have done this. And I would love to continue doing this, giving back to society, giving back to kids, and trying to keep them energized about science, about research and discovery. So many schools invited me to give talks. So I said, okay, hi. Hey, yes. I said yes to whoever invited. And, I think I have given talks to at least 3 or 4 schools. And if your school invites me, I would say yes too, because this is a wonderful opportunity, meeting with young minds and telling them that this will be over. When this is over, don't waste your time worrying. Just get your time preparing and learning and staying curious. This is the most important thing. And again, this was an opportunity for me to give back. And the other opportunity for me to give back is by the love of science, and by the love of art. You may not know this, but I'm also a painter. Yeah, because my brother was actually a painter. Unfortunately, he passed away. And, he was the artist in the family, and I was the scientist. But now after he passed away, I inherited his brushes and his paintings, and I never used them. But, during these tough times, I began to paint. And I invented a chemical which allowed me to do 3D Ebru-like painting. And it was so novel, apparently. The Ebru painter told me that this was very novel, that I could actually get a patent for this. I said, really? And now I called it Ozdinler, and I have a patented art. Can you imagine? So now I said, what is the best way to put this in use? So we started Art Love Science Foundation. It's 501c. It's nonprofit. And through the love of art, we actually generate fellowships to students. Of course, I don't have much time to get involved with this. It's small, but we can get either summer fellowships or give fellowships to students to attend international meetings like the LSMND meeting. But so far we supported maybe a handful of students, and we would like to do more. And that's why I've been painting a lot this year as well. And painting helped me, art helped me to cope with the stress, with the unknown environment, and the pressure. And science and art heals. And I think the Art Love Science Foundation was a way for me to give also, especially to young kids who want to stay in science. The other thing that I do for outreach is help ALS patients, caregivers, especially ALS patients who are in countries who don't have direct access to ALS center or a doctor or a scientist or news, and they've been told that there's no cure for ALS, there's nothing new, there's nothing new, there's nothing new. And I tell them, this is new, this is happening, this is this. So we now have 4,542 members as of December 26th. And look at this, I get messages every day. So I try to reply to their questions. I talk to their doctors, their caregivers, and sometimes I give fellowships to some of the kids whose mother or father has ALS. So we try to keep them in school, and we try to give them an opportunity to excel in science and in their education. So I'm trying to give back as much as I can to the ALS patients, ALS HSP patients. And I think we should do more of that as scientists. It's not all about our grants and papers and this, what we really give back to community. And I think this COVID times have taught us that we are in this together, and we should not be living in our isolated bubble. The more we give to the society, the more we share science, the more we share knowledge, there will be less anti-science movements. There will be less, alternative fact movements, because we have to express ourselves and express science. The more, the merrier. And we should do this as frequently as possible. And looking into the future, 2021 and beyond. And I think in the future, the best thing that's going to happen is that we will have collaboration and teamwork. And when I say this, I mean this, because it's like a wake-up call, right? The COVID has been a wake-up call, because without teamwork, without real collaboration, we may lose so much time, and we can't afford this. Because if people have an idea, but when you combine this idea, something bright is going to come out, right? But if people don't talk to each other, if they don't share this knowledge, that's not going to happen. And again, 4 different people may hold a piece of the puzzle, but they put it together, then you have the full picture. So we have to expedite and enhance these type of collaborations. That's how we should do in 2021 and beyond. So with this mentality in mind, and now that I was a new member to the Chemistry of Life Processes Institute, I said, who are my friends? What can we do together? And I wanted to give a faculty chalk talk so that I lay the foundation of all the things that we do in the lab, the tools that we generated, the questions that we ask, our unique strengths, and our future goal, to see if there was anyone interested to work with us, so that we begin to form teams and we start our collaborations toward the same goal, right? And ending motor neuron diseases in the future. So that was an excellent event, and I'm very happy that many colleagues and friends attended. And of course, Dr. Silverman was there, Doug was there, Wendy Abrams was there, and it was an excellent meeting with many people attending. And especially having the support of a foundation of patients and a center which is dedicated for teamwork, you know that you're going to be successful in the future. So we want to identify our unique strengths and the unique strengths of each partner. Then we define the problem. Then we develop integrative and translational solutions as a team. So moving forward, this is what we're doing. Then we say, okay, what is our unique strengths? I think our unique strength is that we know about disease biology and pathology, especially for upper motor neurons, in the Ozdinler Lab. And of course, Dr. Silverman knows about drug discovery. And CLP is very well known for proteomics, for biomarker and target identification, especially with Dr. Neil Kelleher. Then that define the problem. And the problem is actually very obvious, that there are no effective treatment strategies for motor neuron diseases, especially the ones with the upper motor neurons like ALS, HSP, PLS. And what can we do? We can develop integrative and translational solutions as a team. We can identify novel biomarkers that would tell the timing and extent of upper motor neuron loss. And we can identify novel compounds or drugs that would improve the health of the upper motor neurons and motor neuron circuitry and spinal motor neurons in large. So I'm very happy that we received $3.2 million from NIH and NIA actually to develop novel drugs for upper motor neurons and to develop a platform, a preclinical assessment platform that would, for the first time, utilize upper motor neuron health and improved survival as a readout for a preclinical assessment. Can you imagine that so far, none of the drugs that are on the clinical trials right now have ever been tested for their ability to improve the health of the upper motor neurons, even though the disease is characterized by upper motor neuron loss. None of the compounds have ever been tested for their ability to improve the health of the upper motor neurons. So that's a huge gap. And once we fill that gap, I think we will improve the clinical trials, we will have better drugs, and we will have better success rates. And that's our goal. And of course, together with Dr. Kelleher and Dr. Yang-An Go, we are identifying novel biomarkers and novel targets for treating the upper motor neurons. And that's a beautiful work. And we submitted a couple of grants, and hopefully, we will push forward in this field, because I think we have some important findings. And again, I told you about how having the Along Swim Fellowship helped Dr. Gautam, because he started the initial project with Dr. Shed Taxton about exosomes. And we realized that exosomes are very important, and they send a message very early. And then what does that message mean? Does it help disease progression? Can we stop that message? Or can we rephrase that message? Can we actually modulate disease progression through the exosomes? And these are very important questions. And now Mukesh is actually building new understandings, and we submitted our grant, and hopefully these studies are going to come through. But we have a very nice path developed in that direction, thanks to, again, the Along Swim support and Dr. Gautam's tireless efforts. The other project that he started with Dr. Navdeep Chandal was about the metabolomic problems, okay? And that was very important too. So who would have thought that the upper motor neurons have very major metabolic problems very early in the disease? And of course, thanks to Dr. Gökhan Hotam-Schlegel from Harvard, he also supports our projects on the metabolomic dysregulations, especially for upper motor neurons. Dr. Hotam-Schlegel is the director of a metabolomic center at Harvard. So I'm very happy that we are in the we actually surrounded ourselves with the right people, with the right team, and we're asking the right questions. And we have the energy and the not so much the expertise at the moment, where we're developing the expertise, and thanks to the support that we have with the Along Swim. So moving forward in 2021 and 2022 and so forth, and I think we will reveal the underlying causes of upper motor neuron degeneration. We have already a very good understanding, and we will reveal biomarkers that inform about the timing and extent of their degeneration. This is very important for clinical trials. This is very important for HSP and PLS patients, and this will help us expedite identification of drugs. And we will identify novel compounds that would improve the health of upper motor neurons and motor neurons, and we develop ways to stop disease progression. And we will identify compounds that target common altered metabolic defects. So this is the big picture. And we are moving forward for that big picture, because this is our goal, this is our end game, this is the finish line. So I think this is the time to join our team. So I ask you to join our team, because we will make a difference in 2021 and forward, moving forward. So please join our team if you can. And you may say, how are we going to join your team? Like, are we going to do research? What are we going to do? There are many ways that you can join our team, right? So for example, if you want to initiate and support collaborative research, this is also how we do research. Look at this. We put one slide and 5 people look at the same time and we tell each other, what do you see? What do I see? And then we discuss it. It's lovely. So if you want to initiate and support collaborative research, sorry, please help Doug with a long swim, and let's generate funds for initiating and for expediting the initial stages of collaborative research. So then, supporting a long swim would help support collaborative research. If you want to support our lab and you say, Hande, I want to give you money. You are so enthusiastic and I love your research. I want to give your money to your lab. I said, okay, fine. I would be happy. So go, if that's your goal, if you can go to our lab, here's the make a gift button. And if you click that button, it will take you to the We Will campaign. And if you click the Ozdinler ALS Research Fund and follow the page, that money is going to come directly to us. So you would be able to directly help our lab. And if you help support young students, you want to support a summer fellowship, you want to support students attending international meetings, you want to support students giving talks at meetings and present posters, and you want to give support to emerging young scientists, so you can help the Art Love Science Foundation. So then you can help us, the young generation to get involved in science, and that we communicate science better, and then they do actually research related to motor neuron diseases. So as you can see, there are many ways that you can join and help us. And once you actually become a member, you will receive updates, regular updates, and you will be invited to social and scientific events that we organize in 2021 and beyond. And you will be the first one to learn about the upcoming innovations. So we think this is the time to join our team. And I ask you, please join our team, because this is going to expedite our efforts and our enthusiasm and our the dedication to find cures for motor neuron diseases, and especially the ones that affect the voluntary movement. So you can give small, big, doesn't matter. And we want to turn this into knowledge, into innovation, into cures for the future, for the patients and for all of us. So we thank you, and we ask that you join our team in 2021. So if you actually would like to write an email, you can use my email account, ozdinler@northwestern.edu, but in the subject line, please say new team member, so that I will know you write about this concept. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can go to Dr. Ozdinler, and you can find me on LinkedIn, Hande Ozdinler. Please, let's get connected. 2021 is a year, it's a happy new year, it's a new beginning, and we have to make it great for everyone, every ALS patient, every HSP and PLS patient, every motor neuron disease patients. So for the patients, especially for the upper motor neurons, we are dedicated to build a bridge between knowledge and innovative and translational efforts. So we would like to see as one of our members. So thank you so much, and hope to see you in 2021. Have a good year. Have a happy, wonderful new year. Thank you.